all of the following can be inferred except. So yet again, we have to find an inference which is either incorrect or outside the premise of the passage. Let's look at the options. A says the structural form of the Petrarchan sonnets was different from that of their Elizabethan counterparts. This is quite true. We can see this from the third paragraph. Petrarchan sonnets consisted of an octave and a sestate. The rhyme scheme has been given. On the other hand, Elizabethan sonnets consisted of 3 quatrains and a couplet. Again, the rhyme scheme has been given. So the structural form of Petrarchan and Elizabethan sonnets were quite different. This is true according to the passage. Hence, A is not a valid answer. Option B says, the kind of rhetoric found in Petrarchan and anti-Petrarchan sonnets was quite similar. Now, this is a very deceptive and confusing option. At first glance, this seems to be incorrect because many of us might not know what rhetoric is. Even if we do, we might think that Petrarchan and anti-Petrarchan sonnets, in particular sonnet 130 by William Shakespeare, they have been contrasted. The rhetoric as given by the metaphorical comparisons here at the end of the first paragraph relating to Petrarchan sonnets and sonnet 130, the anti-Petrarchan sonnet at the beginning of the second paragraph, these have been contrasted. So how can we say that they were quite similar? The passage seems to suggest that they were contradictory to each other. But if we think carefully, the rhetoric is actually similar. Rhetoric, unfortunately, this question depends upon us knowing the meaning of the word rhetoric in somewhat in detail. Rhetoric means the efficient or effective use of language to portray an image, usually by the use of exaggerations. We see exaggerations used in both these cases. Only in the case of Petrarchan sonnets, it is used to exaggerate the image. In the case of anti-Petrarchan sonnets, as in sonnet 130 by Shakespeare, it is used to reject the Petrarchan conceit or the blazon. The application of the blazon would emphasize more on metaphorical perfection of the mistresses compared to natural objects that were created by God. Hence, when the mistresses were better than nature, then there would be nothing better than the mistresses. The examples given are here. Any lover's mistress in Petrarchan poet's sonnet would expect to have eyes that vie the sun, lips that are redder than coral, breasts as white as snow, and hair that shines. We see the comparisons with natural objects created by God. These, the attributes or the features of the mistress are presented as better than these. Eyes that vie the sun, lips that are redder than coral, breasts as white as snow, at least similar, if not better. In sonnet 130, this has been rejected. Nevertheless, the speaker creates his mistress to a contradictory image of an ideal lover. The speaker insisted that his mistress's eyes were nothing like the sun. Coral was far more red than her lips is red. If snow be white, then her breasts were dun. Also commented that if hairs be wires, black wires grew on her head. Furthermore, her skin was dark and not smooth. Her breath was unpleasant too. So all of this said, we find that this does use the exaggerations, only it inverts the exaggerations and thus rejects the idea, the conceit, the blazon used in Petrarchan sonnets or Petrarchan poetry. So do these use the same idea? Do these present the same image of the mistress? No, they don't. They are quite contradictory. The rhetorical usage, is it the same in both these types of sonnets? No, they are quite contradictory. But the use of rhetoric, the kind of rhetoric found in these two sonnets, are they similar? Yes, because both of them, they use the nature imagery to project an image of their mistresses. That image definitely is contradictory, but the use of nature imagery, that is similar. So this is something that actually can be inferred from the passage. Hence, B is incorrect. Option C also has a bit of a quirk in it. In the Petrarchan tradition, the mistresses were comparable only to natural objects. Here we have a red flag in the word only. So the mistresses were comparable to natural objects, only comparable to natural objects, not directly mentioned, but actually this is inferable. We can see the application of blazon or the Petrarchan conceit that was done by comparing the mistresses to nature. So more on the metaphorical perfection of mistresses compared to natural objects that were created by God. Hence, when the mistresses were better than nature, there would be nothing better than the mistresses. So in the Petrarchan tradition, the mistresses were comparable only to natural objects because this comparison to natural objects would make the exaggerated comparison of the lover's mistress to emphasize the use of the blazon. In any case, we see that only the examples of nature are given in the statement here at the end of the first paragraph, because no other comparisons have been made. So the mistresses were comparable only to natural objects is a bit of an assumption, but it is a possibility. It's a likelihood. So it can actually be inferred from the passage. So C can be eliminated. Thus we qualify D, which says none of the above, as the valid answer.